It was a stellar game, wasn't it? It doesn't get much better.
The best game I've watched live was 2015, and that game was equal. It was outstanding. The quality of football end-to-end, the speed that it was played at. Penrith 37 sets out of 38, the best team in the last 4 years. To play that style of footy in the big dance in Brisbane, you know, having a chance to win it. It was an absolutely epic game, and every fan, I think, walked out happy. Whether you won or lost, you would have been disappointed. I was disappointed being a Broncos fan, but that game was for everybody. It was outstanding.
Buzz, how did you see it, mate?
Up there with anything I've seen in the grand final. Darren Albert, 97, was previously my favourite moment, and I've got the Cleary 17-minute extraordinary passage up there with anything I've seen.
Yeah, one of the great ones, obviously, goes without saying with the boys, you know. I think 97, 89, 2015, they all stack up alongside it. Whether it's ahead of it, it's probably up to your discretion, but, I mean, it was an amazing game. And what Nathan Cleary did was just astonishing.
It was. We'll get there soon. Panthers three-peat. Are they the greatest team in the modern era? We've debated this the last few weeks. They've delivered. We said if they do deliver and they get the three-peat and they perform like they did last night, what's the answer? Are they?
Well, for starters, I don't want to be disrespectful to other great clubs and teams that have done three-peats. You go back to Parramatta, 81, 82, 83, and I rated Penrith higher than them just 2 weeks ago. Only reason I do is, remember with Parramatta, with Price, Sterling, Kenny, Ellett, Cronin, Grove. That was basically a Sydney competition then. There were a few Queenslanders in it. There were a few Kiwis in it. I think Penrith have beaten more than what Parramatta did.
So you're saying yes?
Yeah, and you can even go back. You can even go back to St George. Okay, 11 in a row.
Okay,
St
George. 11 premierships in a row.
No, hear me out. Langland's Raper, Proven, Gasnier, Immortals, no salary cap, a team worth 3 times what a lot of their opponents were worth. When Parramatta won, there was no salary cap. Cap didn't come in until 1990. So all I'm saying is,
We've got to take all that out of it. Are they?
No, you don't take that out at all. You look.
That was the era.
You've got to look at the achievement. And
everybody
Penrith
played
were
under the same rules.
I don't necessarily think they're a better footy side than them, Gordy, but what they've done in the salary cap era is ridiculous. I don't think we'll ever see it again, what they've done in the salary cap era. But I don't necessarily think they're a better football team than what the Parramatta side was in the 80s. But they wouldn't have been under the salary cap, and they would have been ripped apart. The Dragons side would have been ripped apart.
Can I tell you something? You're saying...
You know what? I think it's impossible to compare. I really
look,
do.
Look, I saw...
That's what we do, mate. You're allowed to have an opinion, Buzz.
Yeah, of course you are. 1981, the Penrith middle forwards I watched last night, Leota, Fisher-Harris,
Outstanding.
Spencer Lanu. I'm sorry to the guys who played in the middle at Parramatta.
Don't apologise.
Far superior, the Penrith pack.
Fair call.
They played in the 80s. It's called sports science.
Yeah.
You can't,
Like, mate, you can't... Mate, those guys...
I've been asked a question, mate.
Yeah, I know, but you
And I've
can't
answered
compete.
it.
Yeah, I know, but that's like saying the bloke that ran in the 1980 Olympics is not going to beat Usain Bolt. It's a totally different time with the sports science. Are they a better side? I think Penrith right now are great. What they've achieved is fantastic. The Melbourne Storm side, right, with Billy Slater, Cooper Cronk, Cameron Smith and Greg Inglis, I reckon they would chance their arm. I reckon they would like to play against this team. So that's why it's so hard.
Beat the Penrith team?
Well, I'll tell you what a grand final that would be. Yeah. And you know what? If you got those guys, and I reckon 3 of those guys could be immortal, right? If you're talking about grand finals, you said Nathan Cleary should be an immortal.
You mentioned 4 great Melbourne players, right?
Yeah.
You know, they were over the cap that year, Gordon. Anyway.
Oh, well, okay, don't go down that road.
even when they only had 3 of them, the 3 they had were Billy Slater, Cameron Smith and Cooper Cronk. They're 3 pretty handy footballers.
There seems to be a reluctance here to accept Penrith.
They are very good.
They deserve it.
But you can't go back like to the 1980s. You can't go back to when St George...
I'm comparing the fact that they were far superior and they were in a much smaller competition with 10 or 12 Sydney clubs.
They are outstanding, and watching them play
If you bring everything that both of you said, which you should bring into it, really, salary caps and all that, they are. They're incredible. I mean, I said it last week. We've had players and we have players come on this show regularly, and they just cannot believe what this team has been able to do.
Gee.
And they're players at the highest level in the top 3 teams. I'm talking Melbourne Roosters. You know, I asked them, and they won't say it publicly because it's disrespectful to their own team. But they're astonished by what these guys have been able to do. It's hard to be that consistent and play at that level for 4 years now. They've won 3 premierships, I mean, 4 grand finals.
They're relentless, Braith. And we saw it in this grand final. I mean, they were gone. They were dead, done and dusted. But they're never beaten. And they just find a way. And they've been finding a way for 3 years now.
They found a way last night, and they found a way through Nathan Cleary. Now, you wrote an article today, Buzz. Should he be an immortal?
Yeah, well, I've been banging on here for a few weeks, haven't I? And without failing probably to convince you guys. What I originally said a couple of weeks ago is that he needs to be in the conversation with Andrew Johns and Jonathan Thurston as the best halves of the modern era. I think after last night, 62nd minute, set up Leota's try, cut through. 64th minute, the 40-20 risk on a third tackle, huge game changer. The 72nd minute, when he planted 1 foot over the sideline, took the line drop out.
Massive plays.
And then in the 76th minute to beat 4 men, 4 with a premiership on the line. So much, this ain't training. You guys have been, you know.
He single-handedly won that game for them when they were gone.
And I'm not being a smart-ass, mate, but I genuinely feel, and Joey said it last night, Joey said himself he's never seen a halfback perform with the... So, and you guys...
Did Joey say he should be an immortal last night?
No, he didn't say that, but he wasn't asked either.
Listen, he's a great... I call him a great now. Like, I've been saying to you, I think he needs to own Origin, but after last night, I've got him in the great, definitely in the great status right now. Like, that's...
What is equal to the great half?
You can't say he's going to be an immortal now.
No, I know.
He's 25 years old.
I don't want to put him in now. I'm saying he's got to be in the conversation. He's as good as Joey.
He's 25. I mean, his next 10 years it could be bludgers. And then you're going to say he should still be in the immortal conversation.
Just because he's won 3 grand... You're gibbering about the fact he's 25.
By your standard, Sterlo should be an immortal. He won 3 grand finals in a row.
Yeah, but look, you're saying he's 25 as though that's...
Sterlo won 3 by 23.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, should he be an immortal?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
Well,
no, but he's not far off one. Not far off one, really.
Yeah. I'm just saying
I've never seen Peter Sterling do what Cleary did last night.
Well, he won games. Sterling won a lot of games.
I've never seen... I know he did, guys, but I've never seen anything like last night, ever. Any player.
I'm not disputing he's a great player, and by the end of his career, he probably will be in the conversation. But you can't make that call now. You can't say now he will be an immortal one day.
Well, guess what? I have made that call. And I'll stand by it.
Okay.
You know, the greats in the game are the ones that when things aren't going your way, you haven't got momentum, and you've just got to come up with a play that completely changes the game.
Yeah. Isaiah Yeo went off injured. He lost his partner in crime as 5'8", and then it was his moment to shine, and he grabbed every moment. Mate, there is no doubt Nathan Cleary last night on the big stage answered a lot of questions. But when it comes to that, I'm sure there's criteria. And, like, if you want us to judge on whether he's going to be it, I think there's a criteria of Origin. I think there's a criteria on international. And all those guys that are there, right, Wally Lewis is my hero. Right, he won 8 man of the matches in State of Origin. He won a lot of grand finals in the Queensland comp. That's the comp he played in. And then he went on kangaroo tours, right? And they were invincibles, right? So when Nathan does that at State of Origin, there's no doubt. If he does this at State of Origin level, then he goes to that level.
He's won 2 series at Origin. He's won 2 Clive Churchill medals.
No one's disputing he's a great player. That's not in dispute.
Yeah, but you know what? We're going to have to wait. He's 25. He'll play till he's 35. Injuries, okay. So add another 5 years cooling off period. So it'll be 15 years. We'll know. But we've raised it as a conversation, and I think he'll be an immortal.
If he plays at this level for the next 10 years, he'll probably go down as probably the greatest player to play. But right now, you want us to vote on it now?
I can't get you, can I, Gordy?
Well, how?
I've explained, mate.
Are you on the selection panel for the Immortals?
I was on the selection panel. I was on the selection panel when we put Joey on.
Oh, they brushed you, did they?
I wasn't invited back the next day. I wasn't invited back, no.
So you know the criteria.
I couldn't make a comeback.
You know the criteria.
All right, from the son to the father, and a lot of focus has been on Nathan, and rightly so, but what about his dad, Ivan? This is an incredible performance from the coach. You know, To be able to achieve what he's achieved as the leader, really, essentially, with his son playing as the key half and getting a team that he's had for a long period of time now to where they are, he deserves a lot of credit here.
He is in the conversation with Bellamy and Robertson, not with Bennett. Bennett won seven premierships. I mean, that's a different realm, right? But he's certainly on the same level now, I think, as Craig and Trent Robinson. You know, he's won 3 premierships. They haven't been able to do that. Robbo and Craig, with the teams they had, weren't able to win 3 premierships in a row.
They've had some good teams too.
They've had some great teams.
And there's been unsettling moments when you lose your assistant coaches. He's lost, 3 with Trent Barrett.
He's lost plenty of players too.
And the good players that he's lost, and he's kept calm. He would have shook his confidence when he got stood down at Penrith. But I know it was a long time ago, and he came back by the West Tigers, then to Penrith. But who would have thought he'd be up there all these years later?
I agree with you, Buzz. He should be in the conversation.
I'm not waiting for that.